Hello and welcome back to the Passionpreneur series, your number one spot for entrepreneurship, content creation, and for new coaches. I am ecstatic, literally ecstatic to bring you today's guest. I have known Violet for, oh my goodness, so many years now.
Been a while.
Way back in my manager of a yoga studio days. I just can't even go there right now. It's been so long. But from the beginning, this woman has made such an imprint on my soul, in my life.
Oh,
And even after moving far away, we'll say, losing touch for a while, she never left. And I'm excited to have this platform available now and to be able to now connect with her, reconnect with you on a whole different platform.
thank you.
Violet's company is called Violet, actually her name, Violet Rainwater. And I still believe you are a true powerhouse, and you have been from day one in my book. And her, I want to say her zone of genius is communication, sales, and just being a badass. And she is bringing all of that wisdom, all of that knowledge to us today in this episode. So the goal here, we're switching gears a little bit. I know we've been really heavily focused on the creative side of work with marketing, social media, branding. But at the end of the day, you do not have a business if you're not making money. And you make money by having sales. And whether it's a product you sell or a service that you're offering, being able to get on the phone, connect with people, share your ideas, share your vision, share your mission as to why your business exists in the first place, and convert them to being a customer is key. And you know me by now, I am a huge component of working with strong people, leaders who are doing the things that I want to do. And if that means hiring a coach, I am all for it. I know that at the end of the day, it comes down to what's up here. And so what I love about Violet's approach is that she is changing the way we think about selling, the way we think about having to pick up that phone and talk to that potential customer or lead. And that is going to make the difference in your business. So without further ado, I am so excited to welcome you to the invisible stage, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be on your show and sharing my skill set and my knowledge with your audience. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I'm going to hand it over. I would love for you to properly introduce yourself with all of your accolades. And
Oh
then,
my goodness.
and I love to say this, but tell us, why should we pay attention to you? Why should we listen?
It's funny you say that. I was just listening to something about Taoism and how an expert never says that they're an expert. They say they know very little. So I know very little. Sales, I believe that anything you focus on for a long time, anything you spend hours and hours on, you just eventually gain an expertise in it. And for myself, selling to me, I started super early because I immigrated to this country as a young girl. And I was a Russian immigrant during the Cold War, and I had to start selling myself to even have friends. And so I got my first job. I learned how to sell myself at 5 years old. I was walking the dog, and I just really developed a love for business and making money. And I think it really is from growing up in poverty, like so many of us that we grew up in hardships and in poverty. We just started dreaming early on of what it would look like if things, were different, if it was our ideal. And so I guess you could say that I was a dreamer, and I began early on just dreaming of a whole other world. And, growing up in the 80s, it was all about money. It was all about making money. And the more, the better. It was all the bling, like the higher your hair, the better, the more blue eyeshadow, the better, the bigger your shoulder pads. And so growing up in that culture, I really believed that making money was the answer to success, that's what success was. And so I spent a lifetime studying business development and personal development and making money. And the career that I chose to go in, because the sky is the limit, is sales. And so I have been in sales either as a sales producer or teaching sales or speaking on sales since 1998. And that's just in the corporate space and in the business space. And at the time when I got into sales, things were a lot different than they are today. Like sales professionals, entrepreneurs, you guys are so blessed today with all the resources, with the technology. We didn't have any of that. You know, when I started, I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have a GPS. Like I had a Thomas guide that I would have to
Oh my goodness.
I had a pager. Things were really different. And so what I started studying early on is really how do we drive efficiency? Whether we're a sales professional or an entrepreneur, we wear many hats in our business. And so it's not enough to just have time to focus on sales. What we need to do is we need to optimize our time. We need to be highly efficient in order to get results, because in today's market, there's a lot of noise. And so what I love to do today is I really love to bridge the gap between business and spirituality and bring those together for sales growth and development, because I never heard anyone talking about that. And yet that is what I discovered on my own personal journey, is how as much as the sales systems and practices and the technology piece is important, so is this other piece, the universal principles. And so today, depending on who my audience is, I love teaching people how to be highly efficient and really make it rain in their business, because there's so many different ways to do that with what we have access to.
I love that. So let's just dive in.
All right.
As you know, for most of my audience here, I call them the baby entrepreneurs.
Yep.
So they're just getting started. They're wearing all the hats. And as much as they love what they're doing, why they set out for it, sales is still scary.
It is.
You know,
It is.
how can they, if not overcome that, not immediately, but quickly,
Yes.
what tools can they implement?
Absolutely. I would say two things. First is they have to change the meaning behind sales, because most people, the meaning they have on sales is very negative. And that's why so many people feel icky, especially baby entrepreneurs. Even myself, friends, even when I transitioned from being a sales producer, and I was a top sales producer, to being a consultant and having to sell myself, oh my gosh, all my stuff came up for me. And all of a sudden it was like I forgot everything that I knew. So it's very normal. It's part of the process. It doesn't mean that you suck. It just means that that's part of the entrepreneurial process. And so I would say the biggest thing is to really change the meaning behind sales and what it means to you. For a lot of people, sales is more about the clothes, the money, what's in it for them. And that's really just a byproduct. The sale itself is a byproduct of something much bigger going on. And what is bigger than the sale is the connection between two people. The connection, it's really an energetic exchange. When you come together and you share your beautiful gift and your beautiful light with someone who has a specific need for that light and for that gift, do you even realize what a gift you are to them? Do you realize what a blessing it is when somebody that has a need and you are the solution? There's nothing icky about it. It's a beautiful dance. And if you've ever, like you, Brandy, you're a dancer. When you watch dancers that are in rhythm, hot damn, like, oh,
It's
and
magic.
yet,
Yeah.
if you watch dancers who are out of rhythm, like you want to look down, like you're embarrassed. And that's what happens in sales, is we get off rhythm because we're thinking about what we need to say next, or we're thinking about, I wonder if they're going to buy, or, what am I going to do if they don't buy? And if we just really forget all that, I hear a lot of people say, focus on serving. I wouldn't even say that. I would say selling is sharing. Share your gift, share your talent, share your knowledge, share your heart, share your kindness. It's sharing. And so if you forget the close, I always love to tell my new students, forget the close, forget the close. Go for the no. Just go for the connection. Look for a reason to make that person laugh. Look for a reason that by the time they get off the phone with you, that they're feeling in a better mood, that their spirit has been lifted, that they have hope, that they're excited, that all their creative juices are flowing. Whether you get the sale or not is irrelevant, because if you send that kind of energy out into the world, it's going to come back to you fivefold.
Oh my goodness. This is a whole different approach. I mean,
It is, but we're in a new world. So, 1987 always be closing is not going to work. It's not going to work. And it doesn't feel good. I think women in general are natural born sales professionals because we're just great at connecting. And so, ladies, if you just forget what you learned about selling and just lean into your heart and focus on connection, you want to connect with your prospects. The deeper the connection, the higher the conversion. That's what I always say. Go for the connection, forget the conversion.
I love that.
So that's the first piece of it. So I would say mindset, really change the meaning behind sales. Now, once you've done that, it's time to put some systems into place. One of the biggest mistakes that I see entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, and even I would say seasoned make is they don't have what it's called a CRM. So some kind of contact management system, some kind of, my personal favorite is Pipedrive. If you're looking for a free alternative, HubSpot is really good. There's so many out there. Brandy, do you have one that you like?
Um, I would say HubSpot is my current favorite. It's been the most reliable and easy to get set up.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's important. And I have clients as a consultant, I help clients and a lot of them work with HubSpot and it's very user friendly. I personally love Pipedrive just because it's strictly for sales. Where HubSpot, you have marketing, you have this, that, the other. Pipedrive is really for the true sales professional that just wants to look at it, see all the deals they have pending, what stages they're in, and be able to move it quickly, set tasks, and be able to, to see a recollection of all the conversations. And the reason why a CRM is so important, see, so my background is in the financial service industry. So I was a financial advisor, 98% male dominated business. And I killed it as a woman. And I knew less than most of them. Like I was not the sharpest tool in the shed when I got started. You got to start somewhere, but I still finished first in the company. And it's because of two things. One, my enthusiasm. I think that's very underrated. But two, I started creating systems. And because I didn't have a CRM, looking back, what I was doing is I was utilizing tools from a CRM, like I was piecing together and creating my own system. So for example, every day I would be calling people and I would start documenting that I talked to Mr. Smith and we talked about the indexed annuity. And I talked to Mrs. Henderson and we talked about this. And then what I would do is I would pull up 3 months ago, the calendar, and every person I talked to on this day 3 months ago, I would call again.
Oh, wow.
So realize I didn't have a CRM, but I was creating a CRM in theory because there's something so valuable, two things about documentation, document. Every single conversation you have with a prospect, document. But also, a lot of your prospects are not going to be ready to go right away. If you're able to create tasks within a CRM and continue to nurture those relationships, and not just by sending a mass email, but if you actually had a conversation with this person, put a little task in there that 6 months from now, follow up with them. Maybe they had a new project they were starting. Put in some little personalization in it, reach out to them again, because those are the kind of things that are going to allow you to rise above the noise. Everybody wants your business nowadays, but not everybody's really invested in learning about you. And so if you can take the time to really document and create those systems early on, even if you have 5 people to put in your CRM, I don't care. Start somewhere, because those 5 people 3 months from now will turn into 25 people. 1 year from now will turn into 500 people. And 5 years from now, you'll have, thousands of people in your database and you will create a consistent lead flow. But to get started, you want to build a solid foundation. And so I would say a CRM is an absolute must. Now, I'm going to give you ladies a tool that I have recently, well, I've been studying this for a while, but I am big, and this is going to allow you to really rise above the noise, is starting to use what I call conversational video as a way to communicate with your prospects and clients. So, Brandy, have you heard of any of the video platforms like BombBomb or?
Yes, actually, yeah,
Yes.
that one just came up recently.
Yes. I used BombBomb for a while, but now I prefer one, and it's called Dub. And I have an affiliate link. I'm a big supporter of Dub. And the reason I love it is it allows me to work either in a one-to-one fashion or a one-to-many fashion, meaning I have a library of videos. So I could make a quick video. Let's say you and I had lunch and we discussed a consulting project. I can come back to my office, send you a 30-second video, and know exactly when you opened it, how much you saw it, when you opened it again, how many times you've seen it. I remember sending out a few videos and having people like watch my video like 78 times. Like I remember this one man, and I'm like, oh, note to self, I will not be sending him anymore. I'm like, why do you need to watch it 78 times? Like there's something wrong with that. But that's the kind of data that you're getting. And so I would say to mix it up, really figure out some of your clients are going to work better on text. Some of them are going to love emails. But you know what? With Dub, you can send a video through text message. You can send a video through a LinkedIn message. You can send a video through a Facebook message, or you can send a video through an email. And what I love about it is it's not like sending a YouTube link that just shows, the YouTube still. It actually has a GIF. So you could be waving, you can have a whiteboard and it could say, hey, Brandy. So your customer knows this is specifically for them.
Oh, I love that.
And so there's technology out there that's so easy and really cost effective. I believe Dub costs $40 a month. You can do a free CRM, but between those two things, that is really going to allow you to drive your efficiency and rise above the noise, because video communicates so much more efficiently. Like the research shows that 87% of clients gain more from video than they do just a normal word, text, or email message. So I believe video is the future. So you starting to understand how to use video in every part of your marketing, your selling, your communication, that's really going to allow you to rise quickly.
So question, I hear the audience saying, okay, I sell a widget or I sell unique handbags to a customer.
Yep.
How does this influence my business? Like, am I doing this to all of my actual customers, or should they be thinking about, maybe thinking bigger? It's like, do this for the stores that you want your widgets to get into. So
Yeah,
to those people.
absolutely. You can use it B2B. Like, so if you are a business trying to get in and have another business off, absolutely. Whoever you're targeting, whether you're selling purses and it's B2C, or you're trying to get a business to sell your purses B2B, video is definitely a way to up your game. So you can use it any which way. So for example, if I wanted to get my purse into a store, into a boutique, and retail is, not my expertise, so I'm just going to be kind of winging it here. But what I would recommend is there's probably some type of communication beforehand. Like there's some type of like whether it's a connection at a networking event. Like give me an example. Like what would an example be of how this relationship, or would it be 100% cold?
So it could absolutely be where they're my purses. I met the owner of the boutique. We've talked.
Perfect.
Maybe I've sent her, or she's seen a few purses already, but the deal hasn't been closed as far as
Perfect.
you are now carrying my bag.
Yeah. So I would literally just send her a video. Hey, I wanted to let you know how nice it was to meet you. And I'm so excited about your brand and having us partner. And I just wanted to share with you that I really enjoyed this conversation. I've included a few videos that will start playing right after this ends, just so you can get an idea of what some of my clients have to say regarding the purses. So this is where Dub comes in, where you can create a playlist. So let's say you have a video that is a professional video that markets the purse. Like you have testimonials, you have women like swinging around. That video is on its own, right? But it's not intimate enough. It's not personal enough, but you want to use it. So within Dub, you would create a video that's personally to the owner, like what I just said, and then right after it, automatically it starts playing the next video that you put in. And so then she can actually see the more professional marketing video. Or maybe you have a video, a bunch of testimonials, like maybe you're a coach and you have some of your clients, and I would always highly recommend getting video testimonials, because then you can incorporate it into these playlists as you're sending these out. Another example is for my speakers. I work with a lot of speakers. They have speaking reels, right? And granted, right now things are a little bit quieter in the speaker space, but just to kind of give you a little idea of all the different ways you can use it. Speakers have speaker reels, but what I've had my speakers do is do a personal video speaking directly to that company, directly to their problem. I'm a big Donald Miller fan. Write that down, Donald Miller. He's a marketing maven, but it's all about their problem. So talking personally about their problem. And then right when he's done with that, the video, the actual speaker reel starts going. So that's how I would market B2B. And then B2C, it's just like you're having a conversation. It's like, hey, Brandy, I so enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you so much. Let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. And I look forward to our relationship. Simple, 30 seconds, send, done.
I love this. I teach a lot about, as far as marketing, that human to human connection. Knowing that behind every customer, that person, it's a person. Even when
Yes.
you're speaking to another business, a person runs that business.
Right.
And I love how this just carries on to that. You know, it's
It's
like
the same. It's
same.
a heart to heart connection.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Behind that person is a human spirit and a heart, and they're just like you and I. And so I think people just overcomplicate sales. Like we overthink it when it's really basic.
It seems so scary.
Because of what we think it means,
Right.
because of the pressure that we put on ourselves. I remember when I had like a few sales funks that I would take it so personally, like I suck. But in reality, there's seasons in sales. Like there's times where all of your efforts, like you are getting rewarded. And there's times where it's time to plant those seeds again. And I would say that one of the biggest mistakes I used to make early on in my career, and I see this all the time, is we get so down on ourselves on those quieter seasons, on those seasons where it's not raining. Those are the seasons where we perhaps need to tweak a little bit, or to rethink a little bit, or to gather our energy and our strength and plant more seeds. So many of us feel like, oh, I'm never going to have another sale again. But that's what sales is. Sales is very cyclical. And there's beauty in the quiet seasons also, because the quiet seasons, these seasons determine how high your next rise is going to be. So it's very much what you do in those seasons that, it's not pouring and raining. It's standing in faith and staying consistent with your systems and continuing to reach out and connect and add value and educate, that the next time that wave comes, and it will, because it always does, it's going to be that much higher.
You totally just brought me back to something a coach of mine said a while ago, that there's the hunter and there's the
Yes.
farmer.
Yes.
And the beauty, the rub is being both, but knowing when.
Yes.
So you always want to be planting. You always
Yes.
want to have seeds in the ground that you're nurturing, you're growing, and waiting for them to flourish. But you also have to be that hunter where if you need to make something happen today, you go out and you make it happen.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's finding the balance between the two.
It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's one more tip that I always love to teach my students, because one of the things that I see people struggle with sales, but it's because they don't have a sales focus. Right? Like they somehow think that, oh, well, if I open my store, or if I have a product and I have my marketing page, like they'll all come. And it just doesn't work that way. Like you actually have Yeah. Like I used to like always wait to be discovered. One day when Ellen discovers me and Oprah that was my 27-year-old self. Today I know that I have to build my own, empire. Like I built brick by brick, like see pebble by pebble. It's all up to me, right? And so what I would say is to really get into practice of time blocking. I'm huge on time blocking. So I would say it would look like this. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 to 11, is strictly for business development. And so that is when you are doing nothing. Nothing comes in your way. You're not taking a friend's call. You're not checking social media. You're not following up with a service issue. Nope. It's not. If it's not something that is going to generate income, then you don't do it. So what I say is if you can't do 2 times a week, then do 1 time a week for like 3 hours and give yourself time beforehand. So for me, I'm better in the morning. So my time blocking is always in the morning. I have a fresh head in the morning. I'm clear, like my energy is higher. So I plan accordingly. You might be better in the afternoon. So make sure you set those times in rhythm with your natural clock, right? And make sure you do what you need to do in order to show up your highest self. So you don't want to show up dehydrated. You don't want to show up with pancakes, and syrup and, hash browns and toast for breakfast. All those things affect your vibration. And the very first thing your client can feel before they see you, before they like the very first thing they're going to feel is that energy of yours. So you want that energy up. And I'll be sharing with you guys. In fact, I'll be giving your audience, they can download my thought map. It's what I created to really help you make sure that when you go to do these business practices, when you're focused on business development, that you're not spinning your wheels because you haven't eaten all day and there's no energy. You have to fill yourself up, and then you time block and focus on business development. And during that time, I would highly recommend having a list. So one of my favorite, if you're a B2B business, one of my favorite resources is Sales Navigator. You can create a list on Sales Navigator through LinkedIn. Are you familiar with Sales Navigator, Brandy?
Oh, I'm not.
Sales Navigator is awesome because it allows you to create a filtered search. So for example, I have a product where I sell courses to insurance agents, but just Farmers, State Farm, and Allstate. So I literally put in insurance agencies and I put Farmers, State Farm, and Allstate, and I put in Colorado and California, and like 4,000 names came up. And I can see when they were last active on LinkedIn. So then I can do a further search on the ones that were active the last 30 days. And then I can start, what I would recommend from there is having someone create an Excel spreadsheet, because you cannot download. That's the only downside, but create an Excel spreadsheet and then get all those people in your HubSpot or your Pipedrive and begin starting to nurture that campaign. And the nice thing about LinkedIn is you can do voicemails. Like I do voice messages all the time and very few people do them or know about them. So I would start your campaign on LinkedIn. Just start by sending them a connection request and then a voice message. But you really need to have a list. Like you need to know exactly who you're going to call during that time blocking. And again, you're not going for a sale. You're not going for conversion. You're going for connection. So it's easy. And the nice thing is you can look and see what, where they've worked, what their history is, find some commonality. So when you reach out, you're personalizing it just a little bit.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah. So these are all tools that we didn't have 20 years ago that you guys now have access to. But sadly, I don't see a lot of people utilizing them.
Agreed. Is Sales Navigator free, or is
It
there a
is
part of it?
not. It is not free. But if you think about it from a marketing budget perspective, it's, if you're bootstrapping it, I think it's $70 a month,
That's
but
not
you can create endless lists, so maybe pay for 1 month, create all the lists, and then, you can let it go. But I say if you can afford it, if you can have a $70 marketing budget,
bad.
that would be the best way to go because everything you need is right there.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I had no idea. I recently just started getting into LinkedIn myself, and I have a ton of LinkedIn experts coming on the show over the next few months because I in a short period of time, I've learned how valuable LinkedIn can be and so untapped.
It is.
So
Well, and it was even more untapped a couple months ago. You know, ever since COVID-19, it's gotten pretty a lot more people utilizing it. But yeah, that all your clients are on LinkedIn. Like if you're a B2B business,
yeah.
why make it more complicated than it is? You have access to connect with anybody on LinkedIn through just a little bit of a creative marketing strategy and implementation with that time blocking. You just stick with it. I would say just stick with it and you will figure it out. You will figure it out and it will all come together.
I love it. All right. So a few minutes ago, you mentioned time blocking and really figuring out the best time to go into this deep focus work.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, earlier before we started the interview, the different mindset, but not mindset. We didn't call it that.
Yeah. It's really our level of thought.
Yeah.
The level of thought. And yes, I want to share with your audience, I have what I call a thought map that makes it really simple for you to know exactly where you are from like people always say, make sure you show up your best self. Well, what does that mean? Show up your highest self. Well, okay, what does that mean? I put on a suit, I put on makeup, I fix my hair pretty. Is that, I wear high heels. Is that my highest self? No, really, we have access to our higher self through the thoughts that we choose to focus on. And so a really simple way, I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. And do you need me to put it in present mode or can you see all of it?
This is totally fine. Yeah, we can see it all.
Okay, perfect. All right, friends. So this is my thought map, and this was inspired by the late Dr. Abraham Maslow, who is my teacher. He has been called the grandfather of human motivation. He was really the father of the human potentiality movement. So anything regarding self-actualization and peak performance, Maslow wrote, I believe Maslow shared with us work that we are supposed to use today in today's time. He was far ahead of his time. And so this is really based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which teaches us how do we tap into peak performance? How do we tap into performing at peak levels? And so this thought map is really a great way for you to have a foundation of how to begin that journey. And so if you look at it, it breaks up the thoughts into 5 different levels, right? And so there's level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1 is at the lowest. And if you could see, it's the darkest energy. So it's the darkest level, because when you are here, this is when you feel hopeless, humiliated, powerless, ashamed, enraged. It's really the lowest faculties of the mind. And the problem with this channel is when you feel these things, you are sending out energy. We are energetic beings, so we're always sending and receiving energy. So sadly, when you feel this way, even if you show up and you do the work, your prospects can feel it and they can feel the ickiness. They cannot connect with you when you're in these low mental states. Same thing with level 2, when you're annoyed and frustrated, because the truth is you're not connected to your true self. So how can they possibly connect with you? Right? And so whenever you are going to be doing time blocking and you're going to be meeting a client or doing those calls or doing those outreaches, you really want to make sure that you do what you need to get to channel 5. I always say keep it live on level 5, and because that is when you are at your highest efficiency level. That is when you feel high energy and you're passionate and excited and you're grateful and you're just feeling blissful about what it is that you're doing. And so the results from that are always going to be you tapping into your highest creativity, an increase in productivity, and high sales. And so this is a great little tool that you can use with your kids, with work, with anything, just to kind of check where you're at. But then also it's important to have strategies to help you. So let's say you're on channel 2, Brandy.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have strategies that help you get to channel 4, which is a very peaceful and tranquil and relaxing level of thought. So this is where I am after I meditate, or after a yoga practice, or even after just 3 minutes of breath work. And so channel 4 is the portal to channel 5. You can't get from annoyed to blissful, can't do it. It's not possible. You can't, like Einstein explained, you can't solve a problem on the same level of thought that started it. We have to change the level of thought that we're coming from. Do we have an okay connection?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, good, because looks a little sticky on my end. And so this would be a great tool for them before they time block to just take a look and be like, okay, how am I feeling right now? I'm going to be dialing for connection. Oh, I'm a little worried. Oh, I'm a little anxious. All right, great. Where are my tools? Let me take out my tools. I need to feel peaceful. I need to feel relaxed before I start making those outreaches.
This is so good. I mean, on so many different levels. And I feel like this really, it takes away the mystery of it. You know, you're sitting there wondering, like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Why can't I pick up the phone? Or why am I not making these sales? And then you realize, well, what, what, what do I really feel? What's going on with me right now?
Yes.
And understanding
Yep.
that that energy is the same energy you're putting out. And that,
Yes.
you know, the potential, the lead is feeling and responding to.
And really that was the secret to my success, you know, as a woman in a male dominated industry who didn't know that much. You know, if you look back, like, why was I so successful? Really, it was my energy. It was my enthusiasm. It was my passion. It was my desire to educate and how much I loved what I did. That was why I was successful. But at the same time, I time blocked, I used the systems, I documented, I followed through. I did all the things I needed to do. But when I did it, I made sure that I was in a really good place. Like, I do not make calls when I'm in a funk. Like, if I'm PMSing, that's not a good time for me to be time blocking.
Totally. You know, it's really interesting too. Just as you were going through that, I started thinking about clients and friends who are in network marketing companies. And, you know, I've always thought one of the hardest things with that is that it's the same product and so many people are selling it. But at the end of the day, how are you making it different?
Yeah.
The people that I know that have been uber successful in those companies, whether it's essential oils or shakes or whatever, it's because they found a way to really connect with people. And you don't even realize you're being sold to because you don't feel like it. It's
That's
just
right.
that you've had this conversation and you realize, oh, I do need this product.
Yeah.
This will
I
make
have a problem and this solves my problem. Yay. Thank you. Bless you.
exactly. Instead of just feeling like they're just pushing stuff on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, so good. So good. Okay. I don't want to, but as we're rounding this up, what final words or final tips do you want to leave the audience with?
I would say to no matter what you come up against, because being an entrepreneur, it's not for the faint of hearts. You know, you're going to fail many times, and that's beautiful. That's like when you fail, I want you to celebrate. I want you to celebrate every failure. Every time you have mud in your face, I want you to stand up, give yourself a high five because you're doing it. You're doing it. Show me a successful entrepreneur and I'll show you someone who failed a million times. So I would say, don't be afraid to fall. Know that it's part of the process. Be very gentle and kind to yourself. Like, offer yourself some grace. Like, you are doing something that is going to make you feel uncomfortable every goddamn day. Like, that is being an entrepreneur, right? And so, and the second part, just know, no matter what challenges you have right now, you will figure it out. 1 year from now, you will be an expert at that problem that seems like you don't know how you'll find a solution. So those two things would be my final words.
That was good. That alone is going to be like a tweetable. Okay, so my final question,
Yep.
question and a half, and I have to ask this, I ask all of my guests this. Have you found your passion?
Oh yeah. I mean, I knew my passion at a very young age. My greatest passion, if I could do one thing for the rest of my life and nothing else, that would be speaking in a crowd, and and having an energetic exchange with people, moving them from one emotion to another. There's something that happens to me when I'm on stage that I can't really explain, but I know that it's what I came to do. I got a beautiful gift of using my voice and my perspective to really connect with people at the deep, to get into the deep. And so, yes, that has been my passion all along. It's a little bit on hold at the moment, but yes, that is my passion.
I love that. All right, Violet, how can we stay connected to you?
Great question. So I am pretty active on LinkedIn, although at the moment I'm taking a little pause. A great way to stay connected is either through LinkedIn or my website. And I am in the process of putting together a YouTube channel, which will be my primary mode of engagement and teaching, what I've learned.
I love it. Perfect. And your LinkedIn URL, your website will all be included in the episode notes as well. So people will be able to click on that and directly be connected to you as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Brandy. This was awesome.
Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it. You are just such a beautiful being, and I'm so grateful that you came into my life when you did and that you're still here. You're still
Oh,
in it.
thank you kindly. Likewise. Likewise.
All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode. I know in my bones that you got some really good stuff out of this and you found this helpful. I love to hear your comments, your feedback, your aha moments. Do not hesitate to comment in the comment box below. Shoot me a DM. Find me on Instagram, BrandyDaniels_, the Passionpreneur series. Reach out to me. Let me know if this is helpful. Let me know what your questions are and where I can serve you as well. Thank you again, Violet. I will talk to you soon and hopefully see you when you're in the area.
That would be nice. That would be really nice.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Have a great day,
Bye.
you guys.